Hello everyone, in this video I'll be showing you a level 20 sniper class mod build in Baldur's Gate 3. This mod is made by Eclipse, and what I love about this is it has 3 different subclasses. We'll be focusing on the Deadeye Marksman, but there's also the Ghost Operator and Tactical Saboteur. Now, this gives you ammo as your spell resources, so we get some pretty cool abilities here. Like you get the Sniper Shot, which does 3d4 piercing damage. These abilities do scale up, and we get a lot of new abilities all the way up to level 20. Class features: you can fire magical sniper when equipped with a ranged weapon, and I do have a sniper mod here, so there's 2 really great ones if you're playing on console that work perfectly here. This is the Evelyn's Matriarch mod, and there's also the Steampunk Rifle as well, or the Viper Carbine Steampunk Rifle gun by Scurvy, I should say. So yeah, we'll start off here with this. Now, ability scores, it scales mainly off of our dexterity, so we want to have good 16 dexterity and 16 constitution with 14 strength. However, we can take points out of this and put our dexterity up to 17 and then use the Hag's Hair if you prefer, but I think this one works well here. And we also want to take skill proficiencies in persuasion and deception, but even something like acrobatics can work well too, or really anything that you want there. Just, you may have to, when you select this mod, change your bonuses on your stats because they may both be stuck on strength. Just a little heads up there on console. Level 2, we get reload, 1 action, or regain 1 ammo with an action and a bonus action. So reload your gun. It's a cool mechanic. Level 3, we get the take aim, so you can take aim and prepare yourself, but on your next turn you lose your movement speed, but it doubles your damage. So it's an interesting mechanic because you want to set up in a good position, but if you're not in the best position, enemies move away. That's something to consider. Level 4 gives us the steady aim. If you didn't move on your last turn, your next attack will deal an additional 1d4 of force damage, and we get to take a feat. At this point, alert. I think a sniper should be alert, +5 to initiative, works really well, or you can increase your dexterity by 2, as snipers should also be quick on their feet. Level 5, this is when we get to take our subclass, so I'll just briefly review. The Tactical Saboteur gives us a suppressing shot, dealing 4 to 24 piercing damage and applying slow for 2 turns using an ammo. Ghost Operative, if you didn't move on your last turn, you become invisible at the start of your turn, and you get a Ghost Step, which uses an ammo, and it's basically Misty Step. Then the Deadeye Marksman, which is the one we're selecting, the critical headshots, you have an increased chance of hitting critical hits, and you also get the Ricochet Shot, which fires a shot and it bounces to 1 additional target, which is actually really good. At level 6, we get Throw Net, so you can throw a net to ensnare your target, and we get the Smoke Bomb ability here, so you can blind and heavily obscure creatures within. This does require a concentration. And once we hit level 7, we get the Sniper's Focus, deal an additional 1d6 of force damage if you haven't moved before attacking. So again, we're buffing up our attacks by staying in spot, which is a lot different than some other subclasses where you're motivated to move around. This also gives us the True Aim. Your shots strike true. You gain +3 to attack rolls. So we can comfortably, at this point, go ahead with taking Sharpshooter, as this will offset it quite a bit. This will give us an additional 10 damage on our attacks, and we don't get affected by low ground. I would also recommend, if you're using a crossbow mod, to use Crossbow Expert for close range shots. It's always a nice ability. We also get the Fragment Shot here, which does a 46 of fire damage, fire an explosive shot at 3 targets, and deal fire damage using an ammo charge. So pretty cool, kind of like a Scorching Ray. Into level 10, we get the Survival Instincts. When damaged, you have a 25% chance to turn invisible until your next turn. So just giving you a little extra survivability, giving disadvantage on attack rolls. Level 11 gives us the Armor Piercing Round. Your next attack reduces target's armor class by 5 as a bonus action. Yeah, it gets pretty strong. Into level 12, we get the Execution Shot, doing a 66 piercing fire shot, dealing that amount of damage. Deals bonus damage when the target is below 50% maximum health. Now we get to take another feat here. And as I mentioned, if you're using one of these sniper mods, this is a crossbow by nature, so you could take the Crossbow Expert feat, which will make it so you can do close range attacks, and then use the Ballist Armor. But also an ability score improvement to take up our dexterity works well too. Those are kind of the 2 best options. Level 13, extra health, yippee. Level 14 will give us the secondary firearm. Quickly fire a short range shot with your secondary firearm, dealing 3 to 24 piercing damage. Bonus action. So yeah, that's nice to get that extra attack off. Level 15, just some more health. Into level 16, we get the class feature Unseen Terror. When you damage an enemy from a distance of at least 20 meters, they have a chance to become feared. Now at this point, I would recommend taking an increase to our dexterity, or again, taking Crossbow Expert, which is always nice to have just on this for close range if we happen to be in a bad position. Level 17 is extra health there. 18 will give us the class feature Scoped Strikes. You gain a +1 to attack rolls, and you do hit crits more often. So it's overall boost to overall damage. And hitting crits more often means that we're more likely to hit as well, because a critical hit will give us an increased hit chance, because it can override and make sure that we do hit the target. Level 20 gives us a semi-automatic rapid fire. 10d6 of piercing damage, fire 3 consecutive shots at a single target, each dealing 10 to 60 piercing damage. So yeah, you can see where this starts to get pretty strong. However, this takes 4 of our ammo slots, so that is quite a bit. And for our final feat, we can take dexterity, so that is in total 2 dexterity improvements, 1 alert, 1 crossbow expert, and 1 sharpshooter. As far as gear goes, we can roll with, what's actually funny is the Ring of Elemental Infusion whenever we use a spell or cantrip that deals elemental damage type, which coincidentally, if we use our fragment shot, that gives us an additional fire damage on our attack. So actually a synergy there if you enjoy using this ability, which is actually a really strong one. So I recommend it personally myself. It doesn't trigger the fire acuity hat, unfortunately, or any of those specific items. I also like to have the Ring of Protection, or you can have the Killer Sweetheart for better crits, or if you need to run away and get to better position, Crusher's Ring for more movement speed. Also, the Boots of Stormy Clamor here, whenever we affect target with a status, we can stack Reverberation. I just think this is good on really any range character, especially if you have the Illithid ability Drain. We also got Helldust Gloves for bonuses to our spell save DC, and it'll give us additional fire damage on our attacks. That's nice because it's just a little extra damage if we're just doing a regular old sniper shot. Some of the things won't actually trigger since these are counted as spell abilities, so that's why I got the hat of the Sharp Caster there. Whenever you roll a 1 or a 2 with damage die for a spell attack, that damage is re-rolled once. So in addition to this, we could also go with something like the Wondrous Gloves, which will give us an improvement to our armor class, setting it up to 21 there. And then if we're going to use a weapon and a shield, I'd recommend Nyralna for the extra movement speed. We can get our armor class up to 24, 25 with boots, and then 26 with the cloak. So you could be somewhat survivable with this as well. Or you can go with heavy armor. I have the ballast armor on there, but even with something like the armor of agility, which works well with it, 27, that'll get up to 30 armor class. Just depends how defensive you want to be. I like having the ballast armor on, just because if a target gets close to you, you can't use your sniper shots on it, but you can still do a weapon attack if you're using one of these weapons from a mod. So it's good if they get close. If you want to play more defensively and far away, then use the armor of agility. A couple of good options. We do not have heavy armor proficiency though, so you can't shoot without it. If you're the Dark Urge, this is perfect because the Deathstalker Mantle feels perfect for this, turning invisible after you take out a target. However, the Cloak of Protection works well too, and even the Vivacious Cloak could be good. We're not always going to be, I guess, using spells in melee, but it's something there. Even the Nymph Cloak for Dominate Persian Cloaks are really, the Deathstalker Mantle or Cloak of Protection would be best. In addition, for extra hats that we could go with, the Helm of Baldur will give us increased armor class and can't be stunned or critically hit, so that can be really useful too. Haste Helmet in the early game to give yourself extra movement speed is also quite nice. But yeah, I would recommend just having the Nyralna for the increased movement speed from this weapon if you have no one else using it. Otherwise, you can take your favorite stat stick or even like the Club of the Hill Giant Strength. That's a good one to go with. Knife Under Mountain King will give us increased critical hit chance. So it's another good one if you want to stack up your crit chance. And I'm using, again, the Viper Carbine weapon here. So yeah, it's pretty powerful. It has some abilities you don't have to use, but it's kind of cool just to have them there as well. So I'll show you what this looks like in combat. And as a sniper, we got to take long range shots. So you have to be 9 meters away to be able to use many of these shots here. So even a ricochet shot has to be 9 meters away. So we get advantage on this target here. So we may as well take this shot, and it's going to ricochet to another target. So we can roll ahead there and give ourselves a free crit, and it's going to crit on another one. So 79, 47, yeah. We hit for a lot of damage there, 50 force damage, which you can see the attack roll just above my head there, and then the piercing damage, which again is a lot. So these are pretty powerful attacks. We also turn invisible, so that's pretty good. But what we can also do is, I guess, recommend going with another ricochet shot, or you can go with the semiotic rapid fire if you wanted to really dish out a lot of damage, because this is going to be an attack on multiple targets here. So if you can find a position where you're going to take out a lot of high value targets, like anyone that's got counter spell, so I can see a few of them here, that'd be a good choice to go with. So the semiotic, boom, we can hit this target here. I guess it sprayed to another target there, but yeah, that was a lot of damage to take them out. And then since we got one more bonus action left, we got armor piercing rounds, which will reduce the target's armor class, or a secondary firearm. We can go ahead with just hitting a close range shot on an enemy. So again, if there's any targets here that you have a high priority of taking them out, like if they have counterspell or commands or hold person, you can go ahead there and shoot off at them. That was enough to take them out. So pretty powerful, as you can see. It takes out a lot of enemies. We only have 5 ammo left, so we got to be smart with our plan. But we always have that reload there to give ourselves 5 more, but it does take an action and a bonus action. When we have targets at close range here, it's really only best to use our secondary firearm with that bonus action attack. So that can be a good way to take out a target, because with the ballast armor on, that gives it extra damage. And then with our bonus action, we set up our invisibility from the Deathstalker Mantis. Then we can go against our more high priority targets with our ricochet shot there, which is probably the best option to go with for an attack because it's going to hit 2 targets for the price of 1, and it doesn't use up any extra ammo. So it's very good at conserving your ammo because we do chew through it pretty quickly. So that's something to keep in mind with like your execution shots and your semi-automatic rapid fires because those hit really hard. Fragmenting shot is also quite nice because of the extra fire damage that it gives. Although piercing damage is likely a better choice for damage, you can get set up into some pretty interesting locations to be able to go ahead here with trying to hit your shots. Luckily, we have all 3 targets here if we can line these all up, and we are able to get those 3 shots off. So boom, fire damage on all 3 of them, taking them all out. It's actually a lot of fire damage getting spread between them. 10d6 of fire. You do have to have a good positioning there, though, and we have 1 more target remaining. And our final target there, only has 14 health, but if we don't want to miss our shot, we get the armor piercing round here, so we can go ahead with applying this for the target to get a -5 to their armor class. We're going to obviously take them out in the next shot, but that's another option you got. The ricochet shot sniper is better than the sniper shot if we took this subclass. Take aim is also pretty good because then in your next turn will deal double damage. So that can be a good way to set up if you wanted to. You're standing perfectly still, preparing your next shot, and then you can go ahead with your boom. And yeah, you can see there quite a bit of damage was released. So pretty powerful sniper. Let me know your thoughts in the comments below. This is the Eclipse sniper class mod. Let me know if you want to see the other subclasses too. I think this is a very interesting one, and I would recommend again using the Viper carbine steampunk rifle gun alongside this. So let me know your thoughts in the comments. Hit the subscribe button below if you haven't already. See you all in the next video.